Welcome to Talkin' Tea with Auntie, where we discuss interesting topics with everyday people. And today's topic is Art and Artists with Magic Cakes by Tavo and Jasper Friend. And now to your gay auntie, ShiningNathan.
Hello lovers, welcome to Talk and Tea with Auntie. This is your gay auntie, ShiningNathan, and we are geared for a fantastic episode today. I'm really excited to get this going. I have two fantastic guests, one who's a baker and one's a milliner. Fantastic company. They're going to be giving us a great show. And if you like this content, once again, I do have to ask if you become a patron on my Patreon, patreon.com/ShiningNathan, and you get to ask questions of our guests, and I will also put those questions to our next guests. And today we're focusing on a fantastic topic that I think involves all our lives and gives us all a fantastic view of the world around us, and it provides beauty to enrichment to our lives in forms of entertainment and much, much more. And that is art. And I'm brought two very unusual artists. Well, not unusual, but not like a paint and canvas type, but a different type. Baker and a milliner. So I'm so excited to have them both here today. So let's bring on our guest. We will start with our fantastic guest today, shall we? So we have with us today Tavo. Welcome, Tavo. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, Tavo. Where are you based? You're based here in San Antonio, correctly?
San Antonio, just outside of San Antonio, like in the northeast area.
No, and so tell me, what you are a baker. What got you into baking, darling?
So it kind of was an accident at first because I was in high school, freshman year, trying to figure out all of my classes that I was going to take for the rest of my time in high school. And one of the things that they were telling us was like, if you take culinary class, that counts towards your PE credit. And I was like, cool, I don't want to take PE, so I'm going to take that. Plus, I don't want to leave high school going into college not knowing how to cook. So I was like, let me go ahead and take that.
Fair.
And then once I got into culinary, my teacher noticed I had an artistic eye for things and kept pushing me to do the baked stuff, all the desserts. Anytime we did like little restaurants for the teachers, I was always the one who plated the desserts and made them look really nice. And so that kind of sparked me to eventually go into dive more into like baking cakes and stuff. And I ended up going to college for it, which was not my plan.
What was originally your plan?
I wanted to go to school for theater.
Really? And
Yeah.
I see you have a lot of things behind you. Do you, and haven't met you in person, you do a lot more than just bake cakes. You make fantastic works of art.
Right. So I kind of call myself a jack of all trades because I make a lot of stuff. I call myself a home hunter as well. If people don't know what that is, that's people who like make haunted houses out of their own houses, or any kind of yard display for Halloween. And I build all of my own sets and everything for that. I make little props and little decorations for home. Yeah. Oh,
You got what? Show us.
This was the Christmas gift that I gave to friends and family this year, this little spider right here.
How did you do? That is stunning.
So it is just a ornament with a aluminum armature with clay on it and then coated in glitter.
That is so wonderful. I love that. What inspired you to create? What inspires you?
For a lot of what I'm starting to do now, what kind of pushed me in this creative direction to making like more home crafts and stuff, there's a creator by the name of Christine McConnell that like I saw her Netflix show that only unfortunately only lasted one season on Netflix, but she's continued it through Patreon and YouTube, and I've been like religiously following her. And this was actually something that she had made, and she shows how to make everything. You can make it at home, and I was like, I need to make that for gifts.
That is just wonderful. So, is there any specific genre that speaks to you when you get inspiration to make things? Say, just in general, like you feel like being crafty or feeling artistic?
Some of it's kind of spur of the moment. Most of what I do will relate back to Halloween in some way or something spooky related. I mean, it's a spider I made for Christmas time. Because that's just, I mean, Halloween has been one of the things I love. I mean, you can see one side. It's stuff over there. But yeah, it's like I see something and I'm like, I want to make that. Like recently I saw this coffin bag on Etsy and I was like, I want that. Clicked on it, realized it was a PDF for the patterns to make it out of leather. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to get into leather making now. So.
And how did that go?
I haven't started it yet. I actually just got the kit to, like the leather working kit today because I gifted that to myself after reorganizing and cleaning this entire room.
I mean, you clearly, I've seen pictures of that room. It's an impeccably epic room. So, Tavo, how old are you? I know people are going to wonder, how young are you? And I think
28.
we're not that far. You're still a baby, 28.
Yeah, 28.
Still, what is it? And so, whenever you bake, I know you've done competitions. What is your favorite cake you've ever, or thing you've baked for a competition?
So the competitions I normally do, I'm not actually baking anything that they're gonna taste. It's been more of just decoration. So half the time I use a box mix cake because I'm like, I don't want to waste time and ingredients. So I use that or Rice Krispie treats. But personally, my favorite cake lately, it has been this like chocolate cake that's like super easy to make, comes out so moist every single time it comes out, and it's like one of those, oh, you had it.
Yeah, for the Christmas, it was amazing.
Yeah, because I think that specific chocolate cake is such a good base for like pairing, because I really want to do like a peanut butter chocolate cake with that one day, and I just haven't ever gotten around to it.
And so what is your favorite thing to bake? Do you prefer doing cakes, cookies, pastries? As a person who does this art, what is it you prefer?
I mean, my specialty is cakes. I've been getting into more cookies lately, but
your cookies are amazing. I've had them. They're amazing.
Thank you. But I would like to get into the fancier stuff again, because like creme brulee, I mean, that's one of those recipes that I'm trying to get down, and I'm starting to get there, and it's like one of my favorite desserts.
That is, I mean, I love creme brulee, but is it that complicated to make?
It can be. If it's one of those things that's really fickle. If you do like one thing that's just slightly off, since baking is such a science, it can make the whole bake not go correctly.
And what is it you hate baking? What is that one thing that just gets you so annoyed you hate baking it?
Pedophores. I don't know. There are these little, like, I mean, it's just cake, but it's like layered, and it's some of the times it has like marzipan on it. I'm not the biggest fan of marzipan, so I think it's kind of gross. But
what is marzipan for people that don't know what is marzipan?
It's like a almond paste. Like, it's just something you can mold. So it like layers over the cakes, and it's just, I don't mind doing tedious things, but doing them repeatedly to a bunch of like 1 inch by 1 inch cakes, I'm just like, no, you can't pay me enough. Like that and cake pops, because they're very similar in how you have to make both of them.
So noted. Next time I'm ordering something, I'm going to order cake pops.
I'll hate you forever.
And so, of your design work, I've seen quite a few of your designs you've made, both in just your general the at-home haunted house, which was amazing, by the way, but also in your cakes. What is your favorite design you have ever designed? Not terms of like flavor, but just in terms of just
the design.
aesthetic.
I would honestly say I think the cake that I'm like most proud of, and I was like, this is such a good design, as of right now, is my Pandora cake, which was based off of the movie Avatar, and more so inspired by Animal Kingdom Park at Disney World. They have that whole Land of Pandora section with the floating mountains and stuff, and like that cake was like so outside of my comfort zone because I actually had to make a piece of cake float in midair, and that was not the easiest thing to do. And there was a lot of like throwing stuff on the ground because I would get upset when it would fall. But I got there. It made it to competition. I got third place specialty award for gravity defying. So that was pretty great to be recognized for that because that was like the point. But I do have a cake for the upcoming competition that's at the end of March in Austin. I'm not going to say much about it, but it's one of my favorite designs and I can't wait to make it.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. So right now, I've had your cakes, I've had your cookies, they're delicious. Is being a baker currently your day job? And if not, what is your dream?
So currently my day job, I work, I work for Costco, which is, it's a great company and everything. And I work there part-time. And then my like side gig is my out of the house cake business, which in Texas, it's legal to bake out of the house and sell your goods with limitations. But my dream would be, and I'm hoping it'll happen this year, is to get some form of bakery that's not in my house, so I can open up all the possibilities and be able to do more things for people.
And so what kind of bakery would that be? Would you specialize? Would you be a boutique? Eat in? Tell me about this dream, darling.
I really want, my dream is I really want a place that like, it'll have like the basic bakery, right? So you can come in, grab a cookie, grab a slice of cake, grab a cake, whatever. But I have always wanted a place, like say you go out to a restaurant and you don't care for the dessert items they have on the menu, and most of the time they're overly priced. Or like you're just hanging out at home and you have dinner at home with your friends or family. Like I want a place that you can go to for fresh dessert. Like that's all you want to do. You just want to go out for dessert. And so I want to have a place where you can sit down and order something fresh, like bananas Foster, molten chocolate cakes, stuff like that, stuff that can be made then and there, and then they bring it out to you.
Ooh, that would you put in a drive-through? Because you know how Texans can be.
Not the aesthetic that I want.
What aesthetic would that be? Tell me about the aesthetic.
So my business is called Magic Cakes, and so I really want this whole kind of Wizarding World type of feel to how the bakery looks. Something really whimsical. I want everybody to kind of be in character a little bit. Something low lit, on the spookier side because it's me. But so I want a place where people can also just hang out and like even maybe catch a magic show or something while they're there.
I love that. That'd be wonderful. And what is your Instagram, just so people can go and order cakes from you?
So my business Instagram is Magic Cakes by Tavo. That is with one C because people get confused and they can never find me.
Okay, Magic Cakes by Tavo. I'll have that up here somewhere for y'all. So that way people can order more cakes from you. So real quick, what is a fantastic question for me to ask of you right now? What is your favorite flavor of cake you make? Not out of, but for your own personal taste. And tell me why.
I mean, I have to go back to that chocolate one because that one is so good. like that, like specifically with like an Oreo frosting.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Have you made it like that already yet or no?
Yes, I have.
I'm gonna need to order that next time. Oh, that's wonderful. I love his cakes are fantastic. He made a delicious Christmas cake. It's on my Instagram if you follow me there. And it was absolutely to die for. And thank you for the pap work you did on that tree. I know it gave you cramps.
You're very
But
welcome.
thankfully, you have good grip strength. He also does fantastic work as a hobby in what is it? What do we call it? Gymnastics, ribbon work.
Aerial acrobatics. I'm specifically a silks performer.
He looks beautiful up in the air. And so he's very multifaceted. But the cake was delicious, and a friend of mine, we did it for her Christmas party. Absolutely to die for. But I do apologize you having to do that pop work. Question: what were those gifts made out of?
Those were fondant.
Okay, I ate one.
It's edible.
It is. It was basically just sugar, which I was delighted. Yeah. It was delicious. Every part of it was delicious.
Good.
And I thank you so much for it. He put in a lot of good work in doing that cake. Highly recommend. We have 20 seconds. What can I ask you next? Favorite cookie?
Favorite cookie? The peanut butter cookie.
The peanut butter.
I wanted to make some the other day, but I had no peanut butter. But there's a specific peanut butter I use for that, and I was not about to go back to my work to go get it. So
how dare you not go back to her to get the peanut butter?
I was just there and
Well, then we will have more questions for you in a little bit. I'm going to bring in our next guest and send you off to the green room so you can stretch, and I'll bring you back in about 15 minutes.
Alrighty. See you then.
All right, baby. See you then. How do I do this? There we go. Put in waiting room. That was Tavo, who is here in San Antonio. I greatly enjoy his confectionaries. Beautiful. Please, by all means, if you do live in San Antonio, I highly recommend ordering from him. The next artist we are bringing on today is Jasper. She is fantastic, out of New Orleans. Several of my hats she has made. Not this one today, because it was not matching the look for today. But you have seen several of her pieces with a bigger feathered adornment. So let's bring in Jasper for us to be able to talk to and enjoy. Let me bring on Jasper. Hello, Jasper, darling, looking beautiful.
Hi there.
Welcome, honey. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You look stunning in green as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Jasper. Tell me about yourself a little bit before we get into your artistry. Where are you from, Jasper?
So I currently live in New Orleans. I grew up in Ohio, which is much less exciting than New Orleans, but we got to come from somewhere. However, my mom is from Thailand, so I'm actually first generation to the US. And I grew up on a hippie commune in a school bus, essentially.
Really?
I lived in a school bus, and I lived in yurts. I was homeschooled, and my whole family is very creative and all artists. So that's kind of where my, humble beginnings started. It wasn't even an option. I just picked up every single type of craft, and that's basically what I did for school was art.
Oh, and you do such beautiful work. And so art mediums have eventually led you to be a milliner?
I've always loved three-dimensional. I like to touch things, like to physically be able to feel it. So I've done like everything from pottery to clothing. When I was very young, I would like to dress up dolls and dress myself up and cut my Barbie's hair and paint everything. And so it's just kind of been anything I could physically touch, I would make into art. Yeah, I've done a little drawing, dabbled here and there, but two-dimensional doesn't speak to me the same, so.
I love that. And so how did your upbringing in Ohio, has it inspired your artwork today continually, or does New Orleans inspire your artwork more?
I mean, definitely New Orleans inspires it more. I think probably what inspires me about Ohio is that even at a young age, I like to kind of stand out and be a little funky and wild. And there it was always like, how can I shock people? Like, how can I be the most outrageous and outlandish today? Whereas here, everyone is doing that. And so it doesn't feel so much like I have this drive to be out there as much as I'm kind of just like playing with what works for me. And I almost find myself like toning down a little bit, especially as I age and, you know, walking out of the house in yoga pants instead of trying to be like the most extra every day. So, because style and fashion is really like where my heart is.
And clearly, look at this style. What inspired this look today? This beautiful.
Well, this is one of my favorite hats that I've made, and green is definitely my color. So I based it around the hat. Of course, I needed to showcase the hat for the day, and this is the one. And then after that, I kind of just decided, you know, let me go with something. It's pretty hot right now, and my air is out.
Oh,
so
no.
you can hear the fan in the background. I apologize, but so I was like short sleeve for sure, and just go through the wardrobe and see what's available.
I love that. And so right now you currently work as a milliner.
I do.
Are there any other types of art you're currently creating outside of the millinery work you do?
I do. So myself, I have a fashion line, Athena Noir, and it's not up at the moment. I took a break because I've been moving and it's kind of hard to, you know, be online and have all your stuff. But anyways, I go to India and I source recycled sari material there. So like silk sari material, and I design clothing and then have people make it out there and then ship it here. And that's my other business aside from working at a lovely hat shop in New Orleans. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and of course, I'm always just making costumes and stuff. Mardi Gras, all that. You got to dress up.
And so you, in your time in New Orleans, how have you grown as an artist?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I moved here when I was 18, so
and
I've
how
grown
young
as
are
a person.
You now?
I'm 33 at the moment, currently. I'm thinking I'm going both on 16 and 75 to Florida. But yeah, I mean, as a person, I've grown, and this city is just so rich in art and culture and flowers and colors and textures and like everything here. There's so much. So I'm inspired every day, you know. I love people come into my shop like, oh, I'm from Wisconsin, I could never wear this. I'm like, well, you could if you had enough bravery. I don't know, you could if you want to. Like, oh, I wish people still wore hats. Well, you can still wear a hat, you know, like set the trend. Let's do it.
Exactly.
So
and have you seen an uptick in people wearing hats more and more, or is it still on the downtick?
You know, it's hard for me to say as I'm actually a recent hat wearer myself. I started wearing hats about 5 years ago, and I started with a baseball cap and then kind of like developed from there. I never thought I was a hat person. So when people walk into the shop and say, I'm not a hat person, I'm like, well, let me tell you something. Neither was I. Yeah, I think it's an uptick, if anything.
That is beautiful to hear. So what's your favorite kind of hat to design, shall we?
Well, we make hundreds of hats for the Kentucky Derby, and that's of course so much fun because they're extravagant and wild and can make things just like over the top. Anything I can think of, anything that I personally want to do, where I'm able to do there. With the supplies we have, which is tons. But I really love these small perching hats. This one is a little like asymmetrical swoop, kind of goes up, and this is the style I like to wear the most. So I love making these. And then I also have a background in burlesque. So I make a lot of fascinators, like, you know, more showgirlish, I suppose.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
And so for people that don't know, what is the fascinating thing about a fascinator?
The fascinating thing about a fascinator is that, so a hat is anything that covers the crown of your head, and a fascinator is anything that does not cover the crown of your head. So it would be a smaller plate or maybe even like a saucer that sits to the side, but it's not on the crown.
That is wonderful. So I love that. So let's see. How have you learned in terms of millinery? How many years have you been doing millinery?
Officially about 2 years, but I started doing costume design, like I can't even remember when I started. I got into theater when I was very young, and I did do a lot of hats and fascinators before I actually got this job, just for performance and for the performance community. So I've been dabbling forever, but I've been officially working at the shop and trained for 2 years now.
That is just beautiful. And so you currently have you worked in doing styling or any type of fashion? Because fashion's clearly a way of art, and clearly a very good eye of that. Have you actually gone into that as well while in your time in New Orleans?
Just with my own business, the one that I'm kind of starting with the Sari Silk robes and dresses and stuff like that. But aside from that, like every day is a fashion show here, but officially as a way of making a living, no. This is my first, official fashion job, I suppose.
And honestly, it really does suit you. So in this journey in New Orleans, are there any outlandish forms of art you have seen? If so, what are they?
Oh my, I mean, performance, really. Like some of the underground shows are probably not appropriate to speak of here, but
well, we're on YouTube, honey, so we can discuss a little bit more, more adult.
Okay, well, I have been involved in the art community here forever, and there's this one show that's well known that I may not name because I don't know if I should like fully make it that underground, but it's a DIY strip show. So they have a pole but it's not just stripping, like people do wild acts. Like there was an act with raw meat one time. People like come out, they like build whole props that they birth out of, and like it's all bodies and all expressions and all dynamics. And like I watched somebody who was like 9 months pregnant do like a Virgin Mary act and had the rosary plug in the backside and all of that. Yep. So I've seen some wild performances here, I'll say that. Wild.
And what are some noteworthy, not so wild, or for adult only performances you've seen?
For adult or only, or not for adult only?
Not for adult. Let's
okay. Oh gosh, there's so many great shows here. I mean, there's music, obviously, like this is the birthplace of jazz, they say. Well, actually, between New York and here. But it's just music, dance. Like I personally love acrobatics. I was an acrobat before I got into millinery, so a few years ago. And like traveling acrobatic shows, kind of just my favorite. I know that that's not New Orleans specific, but that's what I love to see. So for me, like I got to the fun adult shows too. we get there.
We get there eventually. And so
yeah.
In terms of just oh God, I had a question and I lost it at that laugh. So in terms of you used to do burlesque prior. Was that part of the acrobatic, or was that before, after? How did that evolve? Oh, we lost her for a second. Oh goodness. We lost her. Well, let's give her, we're currently having technical difficulties. Let's see if we can bring her back. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if we can get her back. There we go. Bringing her back. We had a little technical difficulty. Welcome back.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I
did this really silly thing where I set up an automatic where my phone would like not allow me to do stuff at a certain time, and I forgot to turn it off. And I didn't realize it would kick me out of this even. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. So back to where we were. Easy technical issues. What evolved first? Was it the burlesque to the acrobatic, or the acrobatic to the burlesque?
Burlesque came first. So I, got into that side of it, the dance. I helped, basically a friend was like, I want to start a troupe. And I'm like, sure, let's do it. Didn't know what I was getting into. And I'd already been playing with a bit of acrobatics with my partner at the time, just for fun. So I started burlesque first, but acrobatics came very soon after. And I performed acrobatics for probably 7 years. Acrobatics.
What made you stop with the acrobatics?
My body. There's reason most people stop acrobatics. Yeah, my body said absolutely not. Yeah.
Trust me, same. Dance on the dance floor. It's like, pop it. No, you ain't.
Yes, I did. I ended up having shoulder surgery about a year and a half ago now, and that's much better. So I might be able to get back into it, but only for fun.
Oh, as always, only for fun. And what are the next steps for you now? You're a milliner. What are your goals and dreams and aspirations as an artist?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I'm a little bit trying to build some social media presence just to see where that can take me. I haven't been gearing it specifically to my art because I don't want to tie myself to like one niche. I'm just not a niche-y person, but I would love, if I was going with the millinery, I would love to go maybe into, I obviously love my shop and I want to stay there, but I'd love to do some film work, making hats for film. Yeah, because there's so many good, like fun, funky period pieces coming out that don't have to stick with like the exact traditional millinery, that can be a little bit more out of, I just see so much, and I'm every time I see movies, oh, I could make that, oh, I would love to make that, so film is probably the next step, but I do love my shop. It's lovely.
I've seen it. It is absolutely lovely. Is there a lot of film work being happening in New Orleans?
There is, but they don't, as far as I know, get their like costume design people, I guess, from New Orleans. Like we do have a lot of film, but I find what they're looking for is extra work. So they find other people in LA and then they bring their whole crew. And then what they look for here is like grips and extras and stuff, more hands-on filming. So,
okay.
Yeah, because the costuming, they kind of figure out ahead of time, as far as I'm aware.
Okay. So have you been able to work in the film? Because I'm assuming there's like a small film industry of New Orleans itself that's local.
Yeah, I imagine.
How active?
A local. I'm not really sure how active our local scene is. I probably could dig into that a little bit more. I have been an extra or done some like independent film work with a couple lines. So I've done a little acting, but as far as like design, I haven't gone there yet.
Okay, well, I really want you to do much more, and I'm excited for you to grow and prosper and just build that social media presence. So you can just present yourself or things you do and just everything in general. Is that what it sounds like, right?
Yep, that's kind of what I go for. I just want to like be out there and, just kind of be myself, because I don't want to build a following very quickly of people who want to see only one thing. I'd rather build a following of people who actually want to kind of like interact with what I'm doing and see, somebody who can, or people who are interested in the rounded person that I am. Because I don't like to stick with one thing. Even though this is my job and this is my art at the moment, it's not the only way in which I present myself artistically or creatively whatsoever. So
I love it. And is there a medium you have not worked with that you always have wanted to work with?
That is like living, like plants, like living things. I see a lot of beautiful like moss art or plant sculpture art where they're like, living art. I think that's really beautiful and very cool. I'd also like to do more glass. I've done a little bit of glass work, but I'd like to do
glass. How
work.
is glass work? Is it hard?
I've never done blowing where they like, blow it. That sounds super cool. I've done it just where you're making beads where it's a small torch, and it's fairly easy. You're just heating the glass and kind of winding it around a bead thing. But I've heard it's pretty hard and also fun. Like that's fire. I love it.
Exhilarating to work
a little
with
danger with my art. Exactly.
How very New Orleans. Has it New Orleans or New Orleans?
It depends. It's New Orleans, unless your accent is already of New Orleans, but mine is not. Yeah.
So, that's wonderful. I'm so excited to see much more from you. And we are right at 15 minutes. So shall we bring our resident baker in to enjoy the rest of our conversation?
Let's do it.
That's wonderful. Let's do a formal introduction between the two of you. Bring him back on, Tavo. Tavo, darling. Let's see, he's logging back on. There he is. There's that handsome face. Welcome back, Tavo. How was your time in the green room?
Fine. Just out here.
And I did not get to formally introduce either of you. So, Jasper, this is Tavo. Tavo, this is
Hello.
Jasper. Jasper does my hat work. Tavo's done my bacon.
I love it.
So I had a little list of wonderful questions for the both of y'all that we could have some fun with, and I think would be actually very insightful for both of y'all to answer. Y'all are both from very respective, very beautiful works of art in very different ways. And Tavo works in craft, does a lot of fantastic crafting, and he says he's a jack of all trades, but his work is very stellar. You should see his haunted house display. So a big question is, how has y'all's family either influenced or supported y'all's art? And we can discuss that between the two of y'all. Whoever wants to go first.
Shoot.
Okay. I mean, my mom has been like so supportive of me that I'll like talk to her about basically how I'm like, I need this thing in order to make this, and all of a sudden it's been Amazon Prime to my doorstep. Which is great, but I'm just like, I feel so bad. But I mean, overall, most of my family's been like really supportive. Like, I was actually like kind of random, but I was like really afraid when I started doing aerials, what my family would say. So I actually hid that from them for like 6 months until I was actually good enough to perform for them. And they're like, "Oh, you can do that," and I'm like, "Mm-hmm."
That's interesting.
Jasper, you've done
have also, yeah, I've also done acrobatics and aerials. Is
Yeah?
May I ask, is it because you felt as if they would be worried about you, or you felt judged? Do you feel like it's a gender thing maybe, or more just like a concern about your well-being?
Yes. I mean, I was also not out at the time. So that was also kind of contributing to me, like, do I do this? Do I not do this? But it was also like, I didn't want to be like, hey, I'm going to start this, and then immediately be like, no, you're not. Kind of thing. I've kind of gotten that before. And so I was just like, let me get good at this. Let me see if I actually like this and move forward from there, which I've done it for 8 years now.
Nice.
Wow, since you were a little 20-year-old thing. When And so
what's your favorite?
Go ahead, Jasper.
What's your favorite apparatus?
So I've kept up with silks consistently for 8 years. So that would be my favorite, but I've done lyra, trapeze, cube, a little bit of pole, and harness work.
Harness work.
Awesome.
Harness is so much fun.
What is harness?
Sounds like fun.
So it's both like if you were like to fly across the stage, like Pink or something like that, like being able to flip. But at my school that unfortunately closed down due to COVID, we had what was called wall running, where you were hooked up in a mountain climbing harness and you would run and jump off the walls, and it's like you're like walking on the moon.
That is so cool. Jasper, what you did aerial, what was your apparatus?
So my main one was pole, and then lyra, and then a bit of silks, but I would panic when I felt too caught and like tied up in knots. It was a little too fluid for me. Like, I like mine to stay still. More still. Yeah. So, I mean, my main apparatus was humans. I did a lot of partner acrobatics, but for solo, I did a bit of trapeze as well, but pole and lyra were my main ones. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That is so cool. I've seen his work. I've not seen your work. And so
yeah, there's not a lot of it out there.
We need evidence of this.
I'll find some. I'll find a little bit.
And so, Jasper, the same question goes to you. How has your family either inspired or supported you through your exploration of art?
Well, gosh, like they were the reason. So both my mom and my stepdad, who I grew up with, were artists, and my biological father, who I saw from time to time. I learned how to hand sew before I can remember. Like, I don't even remember learning how to thread a needle or sew. And that's my main, like with millinery, it's mostly hand stitching. And then I was homeschooled, and most of my curriculum was my mom being like, here's some supplies, make something. And we also grew up fairly poor, so it was a lot of like rigging things and figuring things out. My mom is the master at doing that. She says she learned it from her mom. So a lot of learning, just skill learning, and encouragement. Yeah, I would say mostly that direction. They were never like, you must get a college degree. They're like, you're fine.
And so, background-wise, Tavo, what is your background, ethnically wise, so we can get people to understand the diversity of the group here?
So I am half Hispanic and half Greek.
Beautiful. And Jasper, you?
Yeah, my mom is, she grew up in Thailand. She is half Thai, half Indian, which was Indian, but is now Pakistani. So I was told I was Indian, but Pakistan. And then my dad is as white can be. We can't fault him for that, though. We can't help it. But my mom, actually, I've done a DNA test, and Thailand is so central and has had so many people move through. I'm actually like all of Asia. Like I'm little speckles of all
I actually
Asia,
remembered
so.
a
Just
time.
half Asian.
I think a lot of us are. I mean, I think I'm full-blooded Hispanic because the family tree don't branch too much, but we're not gonna get into that. Until recently, as I actually remember what I started calling Tavo Santikos.
Oh God.
Why did I start calling you Santikos, Tavo?
Because I'm stupid, and I was talking about how we had gone. Me and my fiance went to Santikos because we needed a new theater because the last theater we were going to gave us COVID.
No.
So new theater, and I was there, and I was like looking at their food menu, and I saw that they had gyros, and I was like, I've never seen a theater have gyros before. Why would this Santikos? It's Greek, you idiot.
And he told me that.
It.
So of course, I when I remember, I just call him Santikos.
The Greek theater, that sounds lovely.
It is, and the food is
Yeah.
tasty. The
It
food
is.
is
It's really good, actually.
it really is.
I'll
And
have
so
to come visit.
how is y'all's ethnic backgrounds? Has y'all's ethnic backgrounds influenced your art in a way? Because both of you aren't just like Tavo. You are not just a baker, and Jasper, you're not just a milliner. Both of you are very multifaceted in different areas of art. How has your ethnic background influenced that, or has it driven it in any way? Have you experienced anything that impacts your art?
Would you like to go
Yeah.
first?
Sure. I would definitely say so. I don't know if it's, well, so first of all, I have traveled to Thailand and India. So I've seen so much like beautiful cultural art and, new textures and new foods and all of this kind of stuff. But also, I think just growing up, so my mom was from Thailand. She actually was undocumented until I was 13. So I felt like there was a lot of like figuring things out, which does generate a lot of creativity. Like you have to, if I'm figuring out how to, I don't know, make the room warm because we don't have heat, I'm figuring out what textures are warm, like this wool blanket needs to go up or whatever. That's kind of like nuanced, but I feel like just having somebody who was always kind of like finding her way around life and trying to like figure out how to exist and feel safe did create a lot of creativity, and that also led to me being homeschooled and so on and so forth. But also just the traveling to beautiful places.
And Tavo, what about you?
Honestly, I'm like, I let her go first because I was like, I don't think I have an answer for this one. Like my background hasn't like influenced me as much as like my art goes. I mean, for at least my like Greek side, I've been a little hell-bent on trying to find like the perfect baklava recipe. Doing things to my own and learning like, okay, this is how this person does this, so how can I do it better, kind of thing. And that's the short of it.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I know you get a lot of inspiration. He's sent me pictures of what he's doing to his bedroom. And you get and I can see the background right there. You tend to get a lot of influence from a very certain place. A sense of whimsy.
A wild guess. It's so what it is. I'm very much influenced by the Disney parks specifically in what I do, because I like the idea of entertainment, number one, and creating a setting for what like the Disney parks do, and also Universal Studios. Because I mean, you come to my house, every room is a different theme in my house. I just like the imagination and all the hard work that goes into what the Imagineers do, and have really taking that into what I do. I call myself a wannabe Imagineer.
And you do really good work. So I wouldn't say you're a wannabe at all. And so my next question would evolve into, if somebody's wanting to go into art, as two people who are so multifaceted, what would your advice be to them? If they say are somebody who's just gone through life without art, what would you say to them to start, if they wanted to?
definitely that art is not something that needs to be like good. Like you don't make art to make it something that you want to show to other people. You just pick something up and go for it. You know, like you can study how to draw and you can study how to, I mean, baking is different. That's science, in my opinion. Decorating art, baking science. I have tried. But yeah, art is just, it's not about the ego. It's not about showing people what you can do and having someone say, wow, that's really beautiful. It's about taking time to like use your body to create something. And so I'd say don't be afraid, and you don't have to show it to people if you don't feel comfortable. Just do it.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm really gonna bounce off of what you were saying because it's great what you said. I mean, art is very subjective. The idea of like, yeah, you can take art classes and you can learn techniques and stuff. But I've always liked the idea of finding your own style, because I remember in high school, I had a very specific drawing style. Like my lines were never like really straight lines. They were kind of sketchy. And someone tried to show me how to draw a straight line. And I'm like, I don't want that. This is my style.
Yeah.
And like, as somebody, like, depending on like what they, like this person would want to go into, I mean, I say dive into whatever art like really interests you, and then even move from there. Because for me, what I've learned is that learning different types of art, like from cake making to painting to sculpting, all of that correlates to each other, and can, like, becoming a better sculptor can make you better at cake. Becoming a better painter can also correlate back to cake, and vice versa.
Everything comes back to cake.
Everything comes back to cake.
Everything comes back to cake. Like it's the fact that all these different forms can come back together and work with each other in some way. Even if like maybe you don't keep with one thing, it can go back to another. And then recently what I've been telling people is kind of cheesy, but we all know the phrase practice makes perfect. I hate that phrase because perfect puts too high of a bar on yourself, and you're going to create anxiety for yourself. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes progress.
Yeah.
You'll become better, but there's no such, to me, there is no such thing as perfect.
I love that. And that is, so that can lead into the next question of what is it you love about art in general? Ooh. You know, I think Jasper answered the last question first. So Tavo, you must be a gentleman and answer this one first.
I just like for me, it's always been, I like, number one, being busy with my hands. Like I have like a bunch of Lego sculptures just because I like keeping my hands busy and active. But I think also
idle hands is the devil playground.
But also it's like, it's a nice challenge on the mind. Like, okay, what's my next project? What am I going to create next? And how do I do said thing? And so I always like to challenge myself in that respect. And someone had asked me one time, like, how does it feel making beautiful artwork that ends up getting eaten? And I'm like, I'm sure there's some really beautiful philosophical answer there. Creation and destruction. But for me, it's just, I get to keep creating no matter what. Like, just because I made one thing doesn't mean I can stop there. I can keep making more cakes for people.
That and it gets eaten. And so there's no waste. Now, Jasper, darling, your turn.
I think I really like the creative process. I'm not someone who like gets an idea, sketches it, and makes exactly that. It's more like gathering some supplies, having some things around me, and just having a general idea and then going for it. And the creativity comes from a place I can't even express or explain. I don't know. It's a part of my being that I don't fully understand, but it just happens. Like inspiration strikes and I'll try something and I'll be like, it doesn't feel right. It's like an emotional feeling. Try something else. I'm like, yes, that feels good. And it's just the building of, it's like, I mean, I would say it's the closest thing that I have with like connecting to a higher version of myself. It's coming from some subconscious space that feels like it needs to play and needs to come out and get get its fingers, I don't know, dirty, I guess. And yeah, it's that is the part I love the most. And then at the end, like looking at something and being proud of it is really nice as well. Yeah, I won't be having children, so I make art.
Fair enough.
I have cats.
Yeah. And yes, exactly. I have cats and art.
I raised a pretty good one, right? She's asleep over there.
Oh,
and
she's
so
sweet.
She is the fattest thing in the world, and I love her so much. So this next segment, these are my patrons on Patreon who have asked these questions. If a viewer or listener would like to ask a question of our fantastic guests, you are more than welcome to by going to www.patreon.com/ShiningNathan. That is a wonderful benefit my patrons get to ask, and I have a few questions for them right here. So, shall we get into it? And some of them are very pointed, and to each and either one of you. So, shall we get into these questions? All right. This one is directed directly to you, Jasper.
Okay.
Kirsty Mailer asks, what resources would you recommend for the aspiring to get into hat making?
I would say that you would probably not, if you're not sure you really want to get into it, you don't want to start with the full shebang. So I would say buy some bases. You can go to Etsy and you can look up millinery supply and look for pre-made hat bases. And from there, it's a lot of hand sewing. So you want needle and thread. And it depends on the style you're trying to do. It's a little easier to kind of learn on like fascinator styles where you don't have to band them. Anything you have to add a ribbon or band to, that actually takes quite a bit of specific practice. So trying to do something that's a little bit more like show, like fascinator, a disc, or a little, teardrop is what we use a lot. And you hand stitch on what you want. Basically, it's learning to do stitches where you are making an invisible stitch. So you grab the thing, but make sure that it's covered. And then it's a lot of layering, whereas the last thing that goes on is going to cover up a lot of the other stitching. So that's kind of a verbal explanation. I wish I could show you.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So let me see. I love that. But I'll still have you make my hats. They're always
Of course.
Oh, I have so many.
We'll scheme some up soon.
I know. I'm excited. So the next question, let's see. Where are my glasses? Hold on. I need my cheaters. When you start becoming an older guy like me, things become harder, especially your own handwriting. I've never had to use that. Okay. Let's see who this is for. This is from Pamela Farland. I believe this is for both of you. Are there trends in your restricted profession that have been creatively fulfilling? What have been trends that have been less fulfilling or unrealistic in making? Whoever wants to go first.
Can I go first?
Go first. You can see that sigh.
There are 1,000,001 cake trends, and most of them I hate so much. I think they're cute and stuff, but then it becomes overdone and everybody wants that. And some of the designs, for me, maybe it's because it's too simple, but some of the designs I'm like, can we not make it look like that? Because that looks like something inappropriate.
And what were these types of cakes again?
So there's one specifically, they're geo cakes where you take
You're gonna say that.
Mm-hmm. You take a sliver out of the cake and then you put jewels in, and usually they're in that sort of shape. And if you don't do it right, yeah.
What did it look like?
But there have just been some cakes that I'm just like, why is this trending? It's not that cute. Why,
So cake pops as well.
Cake pops were a trend. They're not as much of a trend as they were. But lately it's been these where you put this thing on top, just cellophane on top, and you pour in hot ganache or something like that, and then you pull it up and then it pours over. And I'm like, I guess that's a cute activity for kids to do it on their own cakes, but I'm like, to me it makes the cake look ugly.
Yeah.
Fair. I've seen
those, and
I've seen them on TikTok.
Or like they put like the Disney princesses, and it's supposed to do like the bottom skirt part of the dress, but then it ends up getting on the actual figure itself, and I'm just like, so you just made a mess, in my opinion.
Jasper, what about
Definitely. Less so in specifically millinery, because I get to do a lot of my own, like whatever I want, right? And because we are still a pretty lost art and something that's not super, like I don't have 100 people coming. Well, I do have 100 people coming to the shop, but you know what I mean? It's a little different than cakes. There's not trends that we have to follow so much. A little bit with Kentucky Derby. There's some, but I don't dislike any of them. Sometimes I'll have someone come in who wants a custom and I work with them. And I'm like, are you sure that's what you want? And I have to sign it and put my name on it. But, you know, it's what they want and I'm going to make them happy. So as long as they're happy with it, it's fine. Yeah. There's certain styles I don't like to make as much because they're difficult. Some of the older styles that are like very picky and floofy are a little, it's a lot of work.
But I don't want to do it. And that question was by Pamela Farley, one of my patrons on Patreon. Okay. This one's specifically towards Tavo, and this is from Cynthia. Do you have any tasty sweet recipes for vegans?
I'll have to actually look through because I know I've been through them. That's something that I'm still like, I need to toy around with. I have a good, it's not my recipe, but there is a really good vegan apple pie that's like one of the best apple pies I've ever had. I didn't make it to where it was vegan, but it's easily made that way. I've always had kind of bad luck when it comes to making something vegan because some of the times you'd think, okay, I can just replace butter with vegan butter and this with that. I've learned the hard way that's not the case. Yeah, that's how stupid.
There's nothing. And so what in the vegan apple pie do you replace to make it vegan?
There is vegan butter in it. The vegan butter, I think there was honey in it, but I know there's like argument over whether honey is considered vegan or not because bees produce it, but they don't necessarily need it. But there's like coconut milk in it. There's a different type of egg wash. I can't remember the type of egg wash that she used. Because you can do like the chickpeas, I can't remember the name of it, but you
it's like the broth.
Yeah, the broth, and you like whip it up, and you can use that as like as an egg wash on top of the crust.
Ooh, that sounds tasty.
It's interesting.
You like just a can of chickpeas, and you just pour the juice from it. And it's
really?
like it froths up like an egg white. It's wild.
Huh. Those chickpeas be coming up out of nowhere. And it's really
Them and cauliflower.
A cauliflower rice. We're going to make a cauliflower cake. You know what? I'm going to give you a challenge to make me a cake made of cauliflower, Tavo.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
That was a very unhappy okay. Now this question is from, oh dang it, let me get the name right. Hold on, I messed it up. I was writing in a hurry, and whenever I write in a hurry, I write like a doctor, and I don't even have the education for that. So let me see. This is from Loba de Rio. She is a patron on my Patreon, and she asked this one specifically for Jasper. How do you keep a straw hat from losing its shape? They can't seem to find a straw hat stiffener. Is there one that you can recommend for a black straw?
So you can always steam your hat. I would have to kind of see the material to know exactly how it's going to respond. But even if you don't have a steamer, if you have a kettle, you put your kettle on the stove, open it up, boil it to the point where it's steaming, and you can use the kettle to steam your hat. So you'd steam it back into a shape you want. You would use, it's a general lacquer that we use, but you don't want to put it on the top of the hat. where you can see it. You would do it more on the inside and the underneath. Manhatco is the company that we use. I don't know if they sell non-wholesale, but Manhatco lacquer, all-purpose lacquer, and you just give it a spritz inside and a spritz on the underside, and that will hold its like form. That's what we use. So
you just got to keep it flat, or just like,
I mean, it depends on the shape you're trying to get it to be in. Obviously, it's best if you have a block. You can use a styrofoam head as well if you're not using heat. You just steam it and then stick it on that head, or if you can get a block that's like the soft, I always get their name wrong, but I call it balsa wood, but I know it's something else, another type of wood. You just stick the hat on there, and if you can, you just get some long pins and like shape it how you want and pin it, or you can just shape it with your hands and hold it. Like spray the underneath first, inside, stick it down and hold it. Or you can just hold it, like if depending on how you're trying to shape it. So with the like fedora, how you have the point, I use these fingers to make that point, and sometimes I just take the hat and like squish it and like flip it and hold it. But that takes a little bit of practice. So I'd have to know what type of shape they're trying to do, but steam and lacquer.
Love it. Honestly,
all-purpose lacquer.
that sounds like it can fix a lot of things in everybody's life.
Yes, exactly.
Steam and lacquer. So I guess I have a question for both of you. Since y'all are both so multifaceted, what is your favorite piece of art you have either done performance-wise or created? Since y'all aren't just a baker and a milliner.
Oh boy.
We're both like,
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that question.
Oh, how dare.
I know.
I mean, I did kind of answer it before. As far as like cake goes, is that the Avatar Pandora cake, but as far as like an aerial reference goes, like the monster act I did back in October is like my favorite thing I've ever done as far as an aerial performance goes.
That's wonderful. And it was a great act, honestly. Jasper.
I would say, okay, I'm gonna like go broad. My favorite performance style, because even though I haven't gotten into all of it, I've done a lot of performance, was partner acrobatics. I can't give you like one show, but I performed with my partner at the time, and our group was acrodisiac, so we did like sensual acrobatics kind of, and our shows were my favorite. And then as far as like physical art, some of the costumes I've made for Mardi Gras have been probably my favorites as far as like, you know, three-dimensional handmade art. So Mardi Gras costumes and acrobatics. That's as far down as I can go, narrowing it down.
So we're at the end of our show. Tavo, where would you like people to find you and order your cakes and make your dream come true?
So they can follow me on my cake page, which is at Magic Cakes by Tavo, and then you can pretty much find me everywhere else: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, under Ricky Tiki Tavo.
Ricky Tiki Tavo, love that name. And Jasper, where would you like people to find and support you?
Yeah, my TikTok is at Jasper Friend, my first and last name, Jasper Friend. And currently, I just started Instagram just for my hats, and that is at Jasper's at Jaspers_hats. I hope that's it. I think that's it. I'll post it on my TikTok. And then I also have at Athena.noir, and that is my silk robes and the like. That's Instagram.
And I have 3 of them. I have 3 of her robes. You've probably seen them on my Instagram and TikTok. It's the blue one, very New Orleans style, and then the orange one, also very New Orleans style. I feel like a lady of the night that makes a lot of money sometimes.
That's the right feeling, you know?
I know. They're so soft. They're actually the softest thing I've ever worn. Are those robes. So sometimes, because my apartment is so old and I have all this antique furniture, I just lay there and act like I'm Blanche Dubois and just asking where the liquor is.
Oh, I feel like I should also mention the shop I work for.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you can see a lot of my work. The Instagram for that it's Fleur, Fleur, Day, DE, Paris, Paris, .hats. It's a lot. Fleur de Paris .hats. You can also find that through my personal TikTok. I post it. You'll find me.
I love it. Well, thank you both so much for today. Y'all were a joy to have here, and I'm so glad I was able to get not just people that were of 2D mediums, because when people think of art, they usually think, oh, that painting, but not like cakes and aerial and hats and costuming. So I'm so glad I got to have y'all here on today's show.
Oh, thank you for having us. It's
Thank
been
you.
lovely.
It has been a delight. So thank you, everyone, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Be sure to follow them both on all of their Instagram, their socials, everywhere you can. And as always, remember to turn on that notification bell, lock this video, and subscribe. And from your gay auntie and my 2 beautiful guests, y'all have a good night. Thank y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Thank y'all.
I would like to personally thank you for watching Talking Tea with Auntie on this 3rd episode on art and artistry. I'm so happy you are here and very thankful that you are enjoying it. And if you really enjoyed it, please be sure to turn on that notification bell and subscribe to this channel on whatever app you're listening or watching this on. A special thank you to my patrons on Patreon and those who ask questions of our guests today. Kirsty Mailer, Pamela Farley, Cynthia, and Loba Del Rio. These questions provide fantastic conversation between my guests and I and my guests and themselves. If you would like to ask questions of my guests, feel free to become a patron on my Patreon for as low as $3 a month. Becoming a patron on my Patreon helps support this channel and all my other works, and so I'd be very flattered if you would. Please and thank you. I would also like to thank Magic Cakes by Tavo and Jasper Friend for being guests on this show. Our next episode is going to focus on a very fantastic topic that is currently in the whole macro space as we know it, a big conversation piece regarding what it means to be a man, or in other words, being a man, and what does it mean? Where I have 2 fantastic gentlemen who have worked through deconstructing what toxic masculinity has done, what is toxic masculinity, and where they are now in their journey versus where they've been. That episode will air on the 13th of February, I think a perfect time, on Monday. I believe I'm going to start making these episodes come out every other Monday on the dot. So please turn on that notification bell. As always, I'm so happy you're here, and another thank you to all my patrons on Patreon who make this possible. Truly, I am thankful and honored for every single one of you.